Ray Lakeman joins us here this morning. Good morning to you, Ray.
Good morning.
I'm so sorry that, I mean, the whole situation your family has been through is absolutely shocking. The loss of both of your children because of ecstasy.
Yeah, I mean, and they were wonderful boys. Very talented, very, very creative, and they were intelligent. So, but it didn't stop them dabbling, didn't stop what has happened to them.
Did you know, Ray, that they were taking drugs?
We knew Jacques had been. There had been occasions when he had to go to hospital. He collapsed. Torin had actually seen this, witnessed this happening. So we were convinced that, having seen what had happened to his brother and the situation he could get himself into, that he wouldn't indulge himself. But I think when he went to university, where people are taking drugs, let's be open and honest about it, probably his attitude changed. He found that he probably enjoyed it. And I think that, you know, we have to recognise that this is what is going on.
These two leading public health organisations today say that users should be treated as if they have an addiction or a disease, and therefore if they're caught in possession or using, that they should be referred to hospitals, to doctors, and to stop treating users as if they're criminals, so not to prosecute them. Do you think that if your sons knew that they might not face criminal charges if they use drugs, that it would have been easier for you to deal with the fact that they were using, that you could have talked to them more openly, that they'd feel more confident explaining their drug use to you?
Yes, when we knew that Jacques was taking things, but he would categorically deny it. I do feel that had he known or that he, you know, the drugs were legal, he would have been more open about what he was doing.
Studies basically say they're calling for personal possession and the use of illegal drugs to be decriminalised. You'd like it to go further than that, though, wouldn't you? You'd like to make drugs legal in some capacity, so therefore perhaps they wouldn't be quite so dangerous. They would be legalised and controlled, so if your boys had gone and experimented, they would have found them in a place where they would have known that what they were going to take wasn't dangerously...
They would have known the quantity, they would have known exactly what they were taking. They took a powder, so they had absolutely no idea what they were taking, the strength of it. We'll never know why they took the whole lot, possibly because they didn't realise, you know, exactly what it was that they had, and they had no way of knowing what they had.
Where had they got it from?
Somewhere on the dark web. You know, it was something that Torin had explored, and yeah.
There will be people. I mean, everybody's heart goes out to you. It's absolutely horrific what you've been through, and clearly what they went through as well. There will be people watching, parents worried about their children experimenting. And as you say, you need to be honest about the fact that young people do take drugs. What would you say is the best way to help parents talk to their kids about drug use?
It's very difficult because they probably will deny it, that there's any involvement. This is part of the problem. You know, there are education policies in place, but they're not working. I don't think children are likely to open up to their parents very much about it. They might discuss it with their friends and other things, you know. There is a forum. I've got a lot of information from people, students that I know that I'm in touch with, and they tell me categorically that they're not going to stop taking drugs. They just want what they're taking to be safe, so they buy in testing kits. I mean, I think the university...
They buy the drugs and then they test them themselves to see if they're going to be safe?
To make... And I think the University of Newcastle, they're supplying the kits because they know that they've got their students are taking it, and they're not condoning it. You mustn't mistake it for condoning it. They're trying to protect.
I know there'll be lots of parents out there thinking that's risky in itself, but I can imagine, you know, there's a policy of, you know, drugs being illegal, these sorts of drugs being illegal, and for lots of people that is a good enough deterrent to stop them taking them. And if you make drugs legal, it takes away the deterrent, doesn't it?
It does, it can do.
For taking
the fact is
potentially toxic substances.
The fact is that they are still doing it. They know this. The people who are taking it know that they're dangerous. My sons would have known that they were dangerous, but their attitude would have been, well, it's not going to happen to me. And this is the attitude, you know, of a lot of people. This is not going to happen to me. My message would be, it could. And the only way to make sure that it doesn't happen, that other parents don't end up in the same situation that I find myself in and my wife finds herself in, is to make them as safe as possible. Yeah. There'll still be casualties. It'll still happen. Yeah. But we can reduce the chances of it happening.
Well, it's a very important debate, Ray. You know, we're so sorry for what's happened to you, but thank you so much for coming in and sharing your thoughts on it this morning.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ray. It's good to meet you.
Thank you.